Today on the news and why it matters, former President Barack Obama thinks that women should just rule the world. What could possibly go wrong? Also, it's happening. Democrats say they have the votes for impeachment. We will talk about what will happen there. Also, SCOTUS has decided that, sleeping in public places, homeless camps, it's all fine. It's all fine. Again, what could possibly go wrong? Got a lot to get into today, and it starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez. Today, you guys are going to love today. We are joined by Stu Burguiere, who I'm sure you're fine with Stu, but really I was mostly saying that.
I'm underwhelmed myself.
Because we've got Josh Hammer, editor-at-large for the Daily Wire, Josh Hammer, and we've got Lauren Chen back in the studio, host of course, BlazeTV's own Pseudo-Intellectual. So
happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Excited.
Yeah, well, and I see you chose to wear a sweater today.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold in here.
Cold.
Is it colder outside or inside?
Great question.
Yes.
Right?
Great question.
Gun to my head, I can't answer that question because it's too damn cold in here. Got a lot to get into. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Overcomer, which is available for download today. This is from the Kendrick brothers, which is obviously the most beloved faith storytellers. They were behind the movie Courageous and War Room. So if you've seen those, you know that those are both hits. So is Overcomer. Overcomer tells the story of Coach John Harrison when his high school basketball team's state championship dreams are crushed under the weight of unexpected news, and the largest manufacturing plant in town suddenly shuts down. Hundreds of families begin moving away. They're displaced, and John has to all of a sudden go into coaching cross country. And he's like, cross country kind of sucks. Maybe I don't want to be doing this. But in all seriousness, it's a powerful movie. It's filled with a mix of faith, a twist of humor, a ton of heart. It's got a lot of notable Christian actors in there that you will see, and it's a good movie for the family. It's the holiday season. It's Among Us, and you're going to gather all of your family for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate. This is a great movie for everyone. You can go to overcomermovie.com. That is overcomermovie.com. It is available for digital download, Blu-ray, DVD today. Don't miss it. Overcomermovie.com. What to get into first, you guys? There's so much to talk about. Let's talk about SCOTUS first. They decided today they chose not to hear an appeal from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. So what happened was Boise, Idaho. There was a group of homeless and formerly homeless Boise residents that challenged the ban on camping and sleeping in public spaces. And they said it violates the Eighth Amendment's ban on cruel and unusual punishment when it's used as the basis for criminal penalties against homeless people who are sleeping outside because, they can't find space in a shelter or what have you. So Ninth Circuit of Appeals agreed with this group of homeless people, saying that it did constitute cruel and unusual punishment. They can't impose criminal penalties on homeless residents for lacking the means to live out there. And the Supreme Court decided today, I believe it was today, maybe it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Was it yesterday? They decided late yesterday that they would not actually hear this case. Josh, you're our legal expert, so I want to get your take on this first, because I was shocked by this. Were you?
To put it mildly, yes. I mean, you should be shocked. We all should be shocked. Let me contextualize this. I think my tweet when I first saw this was, I think I said, this Eighth Amendment claim is a constitutional claim that would make Justices Brennan, Thurgood Marshall, Chief Justice Earl Warren, all of the iconic judicial activists of the mid-20th century, this would make them blush, okay? Let's contextualize. Let's say this. At the time of the American founding, okay, there were public executions. They literally would bring the gallows out and execute people in public. And that activity was viewed as consistent with the cruel and unusual punishment clause. So to say now, in the year 2019, that homeless people, hold aside the policy, okay? People can disagree over policy. Here in Texas, people are flocking in from San Francisco. They're trying to turn the city of Austin into like a refuge for the homeless. There are plenty of policy concerns. But as a constitutional argument, to say that you have an affirmative right that a city is obligated to allow homeless people to do this as an Eighth Amendment matter it's nonsensical beyond belief. So you have every right to be shocked, and it really should shock the conscience, I think, of all of us, actually.
Yeah. Sto, what do you think?
I think the most cruel and unusual punishment here is being homeless in Boise. Like, I mean, if you're gonna be homeless, like it's not fun. But I mean, you really want to do everything you can to get out of Boise for a million reasons. Yeah, I mean, like that's a great way of putting it. In that, like, looking at it the other way, that you have an affirmative right to be able to sleep wherever you want is obviously, I mean, to me, completely ridiculous. Now, there's a different standard too of ruling on a case and not hearing it, right? They push it down the road a little bit until another one pops up and take it later or whatever it is. But it does seem like the wrong thing. There has to be some guidelines that a city can implement to make their city livable. I know we've gone on vacations and stuff to various cities around. I mean, it's San Francisco and oddly Denver, I remember being two. I mean, it's like you can't go to the areas where you're supposed to go for whatever, touristy type of thing you're doing without being, surrounded by lots of homeless people, which again, there's nothing wrong, like people have their issues or, but it's not just homeless people, it's the begging and all of these other things that are kind of associated with it, usually with really nice sneakers on, like $300 sneakers, and you're begging me for money.
Probably some nice joints in Denver as well.
No, probably now. It was before that. That had gone down. But yeah, I mean, I think there has to be some level of ability to be able to stop this. I mean, we've seen this in San Francisco with all the way up to going to the bathroom on the sidewalk.
Right.
They don't even seem to be able. They're going to be affirmative right for that too soon.
Well, just today there was a picture. I don't know if you guys saw it online. There was a picture. I believe it was in San Francisco. There was a dude just like taking a dump inside of a store.
I saw that.
But he did find the toilet paper in the store and was using the toilet paper, but instead of going to the bathroom in the store is just right in the middle of the aisle.
Well, it's okay because there's an app for that now.
Right.
Where you can actually
Snap crap.
report public defecation and stuff in San Francisco. So, I mean, to me, what this represents is like the left is very intent on protecting the rights of homeless people. I think everybody should have rights, but I think what they're failing to recognize is that, business owners in the area, residents in the area, we have to take them into account too. And people will say, well, just because you don't see the homeless people doesn't mean homelessness isn't a problem. Like, sure, but I think I'm glad you brought up San Francisco because we don't want things to get that bad. And I would love it if all of this left-wing activism focused more on ways to alleviate homelessness as an issue itself, right? Let's look at, rehab facilities. Let's look at treatment programs. Let's look at unemployment as a whole rather than just make it easy to be homeless. That's not, I think, the long-term solution to this.
Yeah, and I do think that it speaks to a growing trend of not just the homelessness issue, but this leftist, cause of everyone is entitled to whatever they want.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think it really is
Everything
at the root
is
of
a
it. Right, everything is a right. I mean, I was reading, I don't even remember who it was that wrote it, but there was some tweet on Twitter that took me down a rabbit hole of just awfulness, that no one should have $1 billion. No one has the right to $1 billion. And I made the mistake of retweeting it. I think it was like, can anyone give me a good reason why anyone should have $1 billion? And I was like, well, can anyone give me a good reason why it's any of your business? Like, it's not your business.
Greed, just
Right, yeah, just those.
But I mean, you have people like Ilhan Omar who have introduced legislation to make housing for all, right? She thinks you should be guaranteed housing regardless of, income, whatever. She put in immigration status, which does include illegal immigrants. She does want to house them. And no, I think we've gotten to a level of entitlement that's pretty scary.
Yeah, and that's bad policy, but to pretend, on the other hand, that this policy debate is taken off the political arena by the Constitution is just a next level of insanity here.
Yeah. Moving on to former President Obama. He made these comments. Was it yesterday? He talked about women, and I'm trying to find it, but he basically said that if women were leading all of the world, all of the countries in the world, every country in the world, that women could solve many of the world's problems, which obviously you men, specifically you white men, have caused. He said that they would solve it all in 2 years. just 2 years on just about everything because we are, as Lauren and I know, superior.
Better, just better.
Yeah.
What I love about this is that he won his nomination against a woman. So it's like, it's great in retrospect to be like, you know what, guys, let's take a step back now that my 2 terms are done. And it's also, I understand saying, hey, maybe government should be more representative. I personally think that whoever is most qualified and represents my best interest, they don't need to look like me, share comic, whatever. But I understand people who say maybe more women, whatever, we can have that conversation, but it's just all out, nope, all the women, no more men, let's just take this to the next level. Why? Why is that better unless you actually think women are better?
I mean, it really is, it's pretty sexist. One of the other quotes that he said about men was, it's usually old men not getting out of the way. They cling to power. They are insecure. They have outdated ideas, and the energy and fresh vision and new approaches are squashed.
Funny, that's what they're saying about Barack Obama and the Democratic Party. That's like what they're actually saying.
Also sounds like Biden is not getting his endorsement.
I mean, it really is a strangely timed thing to say.
Why didn't he endorse Kamala Harris back when she was still in it based on this line of thought, right?
Not woman enough, maybe.
I guess he has to go to Warren or Klobuchar or something now.
Maybe Michelle is what some people are saying. I don't know about that.
Oh, this late?
It's pandering though at the level of a superpower, right? Like, I mean, this is like, I mean, this is incredible. I mean, it's like it's such a weak thing. Like, and you know, we are all at that point, it seems like, and you hear this even when it comes to election analysis and everything else. But everyone breaks everybody down by what they look like and what their parts are. Stop making decisions on skin color. Stop making decisions based on private parts. Stop making decisions. I mean, like, these are just not rational ways to make decisions. And you know, they judge the individual. We all know that, you know, there are tons and tons of women who would be great as leaders, and tons of men who would be great. And then there's a bunch.
Nikki Haley.
There you go. Nikki Haley might be great. There's a ton of women that also would suck at that job. Terrible. It has nothing to do with their gender. It has to do with them as individuals, their life experience, their education. All of these things come together. And instead of that, we have to boil it all down because, like, we all act like we're too stupid to figure this out. Well, you know, it's embarrassing. You should never vote for someone because they're a woman. You should never vote for someone because they're black. You should never vote for someone because they're Hispanic. And the easiest way to make this point is to say you should never vote for someone because they're white. Everyone on earth would say, of course you shouldn't do that. That's terrible. Well, you shouldn't do any of those other things as well. They're the same action.
Yeah. Josh?
Yeah, I mean, this comment is just emblematic of the way they view the world, right? I mean, like all the so-called pseudo controversy leading up to this upcoming Democratic primary debate was whether or not there would be all white people on the stage. And you know what? Who cares? If those are the best candidates, if those are the ones who are drawing all the money, then those are the only people who should be on the stage. But more generally here, this identity politics and what some people call multiculturalism, same thing, right? Interchangeable. It is fundamentally anathema to what this country stands for on a very like profound, deep-rooted, fundamental level. I mean, if you read Jefferson's Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men, you know, /women, are created equal. We are all equal. We are all children of God. We are all human. We are all humanity. Like America's a meritocracy. We are not supposed to be divided by all these arbitrary, ridiculous like characterizations. We are supposed to attain what we attain based on our skill and merit, and that is how we're supposed to be judged.
Yeah, I seem to recall not too long ago we were supposed to actually follow MLK Jr.'s advice to judge people based on the content of their character and not on the color of their skin. Somehow the left has just swung the pendulum completely the entire opposite way. All right, impeachment and the votes for impeachment. What we think the Senate might be doing once they get the impeachment case when we come back. Before we get back into the conversation, we want to thank our sponsor, Black Rifle Coffee Company. If you have not yet tried Black Rifle, you have to try it. Josh, Black Rifle is the exclusive coffee of the Daily Wire as well.
We only use it in our office. The only coffee.
I remember that from whenever we were there. I was like, this is pretty sweet. Black Rifle. Most places you go, it's like K-Cups. No, they have Black Rifle. Black Rifle is, of course, veteran owned and operated. And the awesome thing about Black Rifle that really sets them apart from their competition is that they make these very small batch roast to order blends. So you are getting the freshest coffee available when you get it from Black Rifle. They also have Black Rifle Coffee Club, which you can go online. They give you a discount and they ship it directly to your home or office. wherever you want it to get sent to you. And you get to pick from all of these different flavors that they have. So you can get the dark roast or the medium roast or the double caffeinated roast. And so you can pick all these and then you're set. And you're not going to the grocery store at 10 o'clock at night because you're like, oh, great, now we're out of coffee and I didn't realize it until now. You're not going to get stuck like that. Also, throughout the month of December, Black Rifle is releasing the best product bundles in America. If you have to get some last minute gift for anyone, they've got a bunch of gift bundles there. You got to go to blackriflecoffee.com/Y. If you enter discount code Y, you will get 20% off of your first order of any coffee products. By the way, that includes the coffee club, Black Rifle Coffee Club. That discount code will work for Black Rifle Coffee Club. That is huge. You're already getting a discount, and you get a discount on top of that if you use promo code Y. That is blackriflecoffee.com/Y, promo code Y. All right, Democrats say they have the votes for impeachment. They, of course, set the impeachment vote for tomorrow, for Wednesday. They said at least 17 from the 31 Democratic-held districts that Mr. Trump won in the 2016 presidential race had announced they would support the abuse of power and obstruction of Congress charges. And with the new announcements of support and assuming no unexpected defections, Democrats will have enough votes to impeach the president. Now, it will go to the Senate, and we can talk about what that looks like, because I know Mitch McConnell hinted in a speech today that they're just going to move to dismiss it. But new CNN poll really has bad news for the Democrats. Impeachment support is now underwater, and it has dropped significantly among them. So only 45% of Americans believe Trump should be impeached, and that's down 5 points from mid-November, when 50% said that he should be impeached, and 47% just flat out oppose the impeachment, which is an increase of 4 percentage points since that same amount of time. Stu, first, let me get your thoughts on just America's kind of change on what they think about impeachment.
I mean, I think it's going that direction in that I think, when you build a multiple year case about how terrible this person is and how obvious it is he should be impeached, and then you come to the table with that amount of evidence and that kind of an underwhelming case, I don't think people were won over by it. There's a couple things you're doing when you're trying to impeach a president, if you're the Democrats, which is, number one, you're trying to actually impeach him and get him removed. That's not really what they're even attempting here, right? Like, this is just an attempt to, play to their activist base and, maybe have something they can put in their ads that this president's been impeached, and they can later on claim that he stole the election or whatever they're planning to do with this. I think the polling has been generally, I would say, mixed. I mean, it is showing it's about 50-50. This one was kind of on the favorable side. There's been some others that have been not quite as good looking for the president, but there's no overwhelming movement there, which I think is significant. It's the only way that you would actually get someone removed. I went through the polls today and went through the people who are on the fence or have not yet responded in the House. So they'd have to lose, I think, 17 on the Democratic side to lose the impeachment. I don't think you can get to that. Yeah. I think I want to say there's 3 in districts where Trump won by 10 or more points. Certainly like low-hanging fruit there. There's another, I want to say it's 9 that are in the area of 0 to 10 points, but Trump won the district. So there you're looking at potentially 12 there that you could get. There's a few more, maybe 3 on the other side, close wins for Democrats. But you're not going to get to 17. My guess is you're going to get to mid to high single digits as far as defections go. Yeah. But the polling is I think reflective of where America is, which is underwhelmed. Right? They look at this and they're just like, this feels like just this partisan action, and it turns impeachment, which is historic when you look at it, has only happened 3 times, but this doesn't feel historic. This feels like just another day at the office. They're screaming about Donald Trump. They've been doing it for 2 years. Now they've found another way to do it.
Yeah, Josh, you would think that Democrats would have learned from the whole Russia debacle, right? Because at first they came out and they're like, right out of the gate, they're like, obviously he colluded with Russia. America said, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Let's get him. And then the longer it went on, we were like, okay, we're kind of tired of hearing about this. This is kind of the boy who cried wolf. There's nothing here. And you saw Americans say, all right, I'm out. It looks like they didn't learn their lesson, and the same thing is happening now with impeachment.
Yeah, I mean, the Washington Post famously published an article on January 20th, 2017, saying, like, now's the time to impeach Donald Trump, okay? I mean, like, this has literally been going on since the beginning of his presidency, and I'm not the first person to raise this point, but the only reason that this literally 5 page transcript of a phone call, where not everything was fully kosher, obviously, but, like, it was still, like, a fairly anodyne, unoffensive phone call in the grand scheme of things. The only reason why this 5 page transcript of the phone call got to this level is because the Mueller report did not produce the smoking gun that they were looking for. But take a step back a little bit, because I think Stu's basically nailed this. They've been talking about this for so long, and the way I phrased it in a column for the New York Post this past weekend was I said, the Democrats, in poker terminology, have now revealed their hand, and they were bluffing. They were bluffing all along. It was a pure bluff. The second article of impeachment, abuse of power, whatever. But the second article of impeachment, obstruction of Congress, what does that even mean? You're literally trying to impeach James Madison, who said in Federalist 51 that ambition shall be made to counteract ambition. You're trying to impeach the president for asserting that he is an independent branch and capable of pushing back on the legislative branch. It is completely nonsensical. It is a poker bluff, and I am not the least bit surprised that Americans are finally coming around in the polling average to, recognize that.
Yeah. Lauren, what do you think of Mitch McConnell suggesting, sort of hinting that after the opening arguments, he thinks that the Senate is going to move to just dismiss it?
Well, I don't think anyone who's been paying attention or knows what impeachment actually means is going to be surprised. I feel like a lot of Democrats or just people in general have been talking about impeachment as if when the House votes on this, Trump is gone. It's like, no, that's not how this works.
I've actually read people saying he's going to jail.
No, yeah, it's like you get sentenced. Like, no, that's not what happens. The Senate is still in control in this. So I think Mitch McConnell is right. Like the Senate, I know Democrats in the Senate say, no, we need to keep investigating and bring more witnesses. No, that's not how this happens, all right? The Democrats made their decision to rush through this as fast as possible. And guess what? Now that it's at the Senate, their job is to vote on this. And if they just want to dismiss it outright, they have that right to. And we always knew what was going to happen when it got to the Republican-controlled Senate. So I think a lot of people just wanted to impeach him to say, we've impeached him, and hope that maybe people don't know what that means, right? It really is meaningless at this point. And I think Democrats, since Trump was elected, knew that they wanted to impeach him. They just didn't know for what. And I think a great example of that is how when they solemnly came and gave those speeches like, this is hard and this is not happy, but we have to impeach. It's like you guys are, and Maxine Waters in the back, she didn't get the memo. She's still happy about it, smiling. But they mentioned things like, if we don't do this now, this is just going to give him the opportunity to cheat again, like coerce foreign governments to help him again. And it's like, what? No, like that's not what you're impeaching him for. Like, you've even forgotten what you're impeaching him for. So I think America is tired of this. We know it's just political games, and I guess, next year we're going to see what people ultimately think of it.
People can impeach him.
We obviously don't believe he's doing these things, because the worst thing in the world you could do if you actually believe Donald Trump was trying to fix the election is do this. Impeach him for this, and then it gets dismissed by the Senate. Now you're not going to impeach him again.
Yeah.
Now he can do whatever he wants, basically, for the next 6 months. It's just such a ridiculous thing. And to your point of that they learned their lesson, honestly, I think this might be, they think this is them learning their lesson. Like there's a line of Democratic thought that believes the reason why the Russia thing didn't work is because it was really long and really broad, right? They accused him of like 9 million things, and it took a really long time for this whole investigation and all these reports. What if we try it this time, where we just take one really basic thing that's obvious, like we can all look and the call did exist and the things were said and we can all analyze it and keep it very narrow on that and blow through it as fast as possible. Maybe that'll work. They've tried now both. I mean, this is basically, they've tried both ways. And the only thing they're leaving out of this is they need something that actually is impeachable. Like, they forgot about that part of the ingredient. It's like you pulled out the
small little thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Thanksgiving tray comes out. There's just not a turkey in it. You turn the oven on, you put a tray in there. You just forgot to put the turkey on there. That's a problem.
That's a good analogy. I like that. All right, back in a minute.
That is a really good analogy.
Bizarre. It's a bizarre. I don't know what they think they're getting at.
If you are looking for the perfect gift for
I am.
Are you? Mm-hmm. For your patriotic loved one?
Mm-hmm. I have one.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have
they're
more
loved and they're patriotic.
Okay.
What should I do?
Listen. You got to go to BlazeTV.com. We've got a special promo code for you guys to use to get them an annual subscription. It will get you 30-day free trial plus $20 off. It's news20 off. You can go to blazetv.com/newsny. That is news20 off. Now, like I said, there are some requirements. They have to be a patriotic loved one, which, as Stu, really, really hammered home. Also, they have to not like fake news. They have to only appreciate real news. I don't know why you guys are laughing. I'm being serious. Also, they have to go watch Pseudo Intellectual with Lauren Chen, which is also available at blazetv.com, also available on BlazeTV's YouTube, also on Lauren Chen's YouTube, Pseudo Intellectual with Lauren Chen. We've got a lot more coming up, including, I don't know if you know this, saying Merry Christmas is a GOP talking point.